What's up, everybody? Coach Ceelo here, and welcome to episode 72 of the No BS Six Figure Sales Podcast. And today I want to talk about making the shift from whatever job you're currently at into high ticket sales. And no, I'm not trying to convince you into making a shift in high ticket sales. I don't sell a high ticket sales course. Unlike many of the ones out there that they get people that have never done high ticket in their life. Some of them never even did sales in their life. And they're trying to sell you on how you can make all this money in high ticket sales and how after having taken this course, all of a sudden you're a high ticket sales professional. That's bullshit. I mean, it could happen, but you'd have to put in a lot of work, right? That's not what I mean. What I mean is you are already a sales professional or have some pretty good competency in sales, and now you are trying to shift from where you currently are into high ticket. So let's start by analyzing what are some of the reasons why people move into high ticket. Well, they move into high ticket for financial reasons, for geographical reasons, time reasons, and relationship, emotional reasons, right? So let's start with the relationship and emotional. Maybe you're a single mom or a single dad, or maybe you're realizing that you're not spending the amount of time that you'd like to spend with your kids or with your pet or with your family or working on your hobby. Whatever the reason is, you realize that you have at some point in your life, you adopted the 40-40-40 plan. Work 40 years for 40 hours to retire on 40% of what was never enough to begin with. Somewhere along the line, life beat you, life got you, and you kind of acquiesced. And now all of a sudden something happened, whether you spoke to somebody or you saw a video, you saw something, and something ignited in you again. And you're like, man, I want to pick up my hobby. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to do this. I want to do that. And if I could just get rid of maybe the commute and some of that extra time and make a little bit more money, why don't I get into high ticket? Nothing wrong with that. As long as you're being realistic in understanding that unless you have some type of a sales skill, now you don't have to be super duper high ticket sales professional material, but you do have to have a good foundation in sales so that you can become a very good high ticket sales professional. Because if not, you're going to suck, you're not going to make money, and you're going to end up leaving, which has happened to a lot of people. So don't be one of the ones that get sold on becoming a high ticket sales professional because it sounded good and it sounded like your dream, but you weren't looking at yourself saying, can I sell? Do I have the personality to do that? Do I have the thrive, the ambition to be able to do that? But anyway, so that was the emotional, relational level. The financial level is obvious, right? If you're not making six figures and you want to make six figures, that is absolutely a possibility with high ticket sales. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. Now, what I'm going to warn you about is that it's not as easy as they say it is. And the problem with that is that everybody involved in this industry has something to win by telling you that. If they're a recruiter, they got something to win by telling you that. If it's an offer owner, they got something to win by telling you that. If it's someone trying to sell you a course in high ticket, they got something to win by telling you that. Is it true? It's 100% true if you end up getting good at what you do. You end up working in the right place. You're in a good offer that's going to last for a while. There's a lot of ifs. And those things that I'm telling you, I've done videos similar to this one talking about that before. There's little red flags that you will either learn by experience. The smarter ones will learn by listening to this podcast. But just like you do a discovery on your prospect, when you're doing an interview, remember something, guys. You're not applying for a job. If you're still thinking that job mentality, you're not applying for a job. Yes, in a certain way, you need to impress the people that are doing the interview because they're going to decide whether they give you an offer or not. But you're also going to decide whether you're going to accept the offer. This is a mutual thing here. You don't know how many times I had people that wanted me to work with them. And the minute that I realized the managing style or the behavior or the structure of their organization, I said, thanks, but no thanks. And they got very offended because they're not used to somebody doing that. But when you're good and you have options, you can afford to do that. Now, if you're the offer owner, you've got every single right in the world to choose who you want to work. And they should do all the things that you would like them to do. I don't have anything against that either. I'm just saying, if you're going to pivot into this industry, there's a couple of things. All right, let's even start before pivoting. Let's just continue where we were at. We talked about relation emotional. We talked about financial. If you're not making it in that industry or whatever industry you're at, you can definitely make it here. Just don't fall into the bullshit of thinking that everybody makes that money. No. The top earners make that money. And the mid earners will probably come close to making that money. The bottom earners won't. But guess what? If you're a bottom earner, you're not going to last long either. They are either going to fire you for not meeting KPIs, or you're going to starve because you're not making money and you're going to go back to what you did or do something else. It's the way sales is. Sales is always churn and burn because you want the best of the best in your team. And if you got people that are lagging behind, you want to make room for someone else that can come in and can do what they got to do. So that's the financial end. Let's talk about the geographic end. The geographical end is the fact that I don't want to have to drive to an office. Who's the guy? What's his name? Oh man, I forgot his name now. Kevin. I remember his last name. You know, the one of the sharks from Shark Tank. How many times you see him on social media where he's got a suit on the top half and then he's got shorts with funky slippers and funky socks, right? Because that's not coming out, right? So then you see the behind the scenes footage of him doing that. It's kind of cool. You know, you have a shirt from here on up and you might have shorts or whatever. You don't have to worry about that. What matters is the image of what they're seeing and your ability to be able to close and help that person. But back to the geographical. Maybe you don't want to go to somewhere to work. You want to do it from home. You want to be from the comfort of your own home. Or maybe it's someone like me. I travel a lot. And I travel very far distances. I enjoy traveling a lot. There is nothing sexier to me than knowing that in the next 3 hours, I'm going to find a very quiet place, open up my laptop, make all the money I'm going to need for the week, close my laptop, and then enjoy whatever country I'm in right now. Nothing is sexier than that for me. So you can tell one of my big triggers was geographical time. The other one was also important. I said geographical time. I meant geographical. And now we're talking about time, right? My own time. Guys, I am at an age now where I love making money. I'll keep taking it. I love making money. But now I've given more importance to time than I have to money. I'm at an age where I realize that this is finite. It's going to end one day. Hopefully, a very, very long time from now. But I don't get to make that decision. I get to be grateful that I opened my eyes this morning, right? I don't know how many years I've got left. I hope it's 40 years. But now I am very much aware that whatever amount of life I have left is less than the life I've already lived. And that means that every minute counts. So what that means is I need to find out how to make the most money possible in the smallest amount of time, because those income generating moments, those income generating opportunities are what are going to finance how I spend the rest of my time. And so I want to spend the rest of my time doing the things that I enjoy. Spending time with my wife, spending time with my loved ones, traveling, listening to music, seeing live music. There are certain things that absolutely make me happy, and some of them I want to do every day. But regardless, I don't want to be sitting behind a laptop. In other words, I'm not a high-ticket closer and a builder of high-ticket teams and a builder of President's Club organizations because that's what I like to do. Don't get me wrong. I love sales and I do like to do it, but that's not my passion. Sales became my passion because I was good at it and because I was able to impact people through that, both the people that I was selling something to and the people that I taught, like myself, to become sales professionals. But it's because sales is one of the streams of income that gives me the lifestyle that I have. And so time is important because now it's about how much money could I make in the least amount of time possible to be able to enjoy this life. So those are the reasons, the most common reasons why people shift into high-ticket sales. Whichever one applies to you is the one that applies to you. But here's what I want you to understand. There's also a couple of filters that you need to understand. An age filter. Are you young or are you middle-aged? Are you successful or are you not successful? You could be young and not successful. You could be young and successful. You could be middle-aged and not successful, or you could be middle-aged and successful. And all four of them, depending on which one applies to you, and I am not judging any of them because I've been in all of them. Depending on which one applies to you is what parts you're going to weigh more or not in how you're going to do that shift into high-ticket sales. For example, if you're young and you're not successful, that's the greatest one for joining high-ticket sales, guys. You have absolutely nothing to lose. You don't have money anyway, so it doesn't matter whether you make money or not. You got nothing to lose there. And you're young, which means you can make as many freaking mistakes as you want, and you have all the time in the world to fix it. Come on in. Welcome. Now, here's the thing. Don't waste it. And by the way, you're also probably the most flexible of all of the people coming into this business. Meaning, because you're young and because you don't have a lot of experience and because you're currently, and by the way, when I mean successful, it's judged on the amount of money that you think you need to be successful, not the amount that I would judge, right? But because of that, you can come into this business and literally do anything. There's really nothing you have to worry about. Right? Like, even if an offer was kind of iffy and it looked kind of crappy, take it anyway. Take it anyway. If it's a shitty offer, you can quit. If it's a shitty offer and you made sales, now you're able to, one, say you have experience, and two, say that you were on a shitty offer and you made it happen anyway. What a great learning experience, right? Now, what if you're young but you're successful? You're already making money somewhere. Well, now you got to think it twice. You want to make the shift to high ticket? By all means, make it, man. You're going to end up making that decision later anyway. You might as well do it now. But you got to take some things into account. Number one, depending on your sales skill and ability, there's going to be a dip while you're learning how to do this. So, do you have money put away for that dip? Do you understand mentally that there's going to be a dip and that you're going to have a strong mindset to take that? Are you willing to take that dip? Because a lot of you that are young, dumb, and full of you know what, probably spent a lot of that money you were making and probably put yourselves in positions where you're paying large mortgages and large payments on cars that look really cool, but they don't feel that cool if you take a dip in commissions while you're learning the new system. But more importantly, and this is where I was going, you have to be a little more discerning when you make the shift. In other words, you're still young, so you can afford the mistake if you had to. But because you're used to making money and probably because you're spending some money, you shouldn't afford yourself that mistake. Meaning you need to be a little more discerning. You need to ask a couple of good questions when you're coming in to make sure that that setup is ready for you. See, there's been times when I've walked into a high ticket environment where I was on fire. I was ready to go. I was ready to turn it up. I was ready for them, but they weren't ready for me. I got there and there were no leads. And then day 2 and there were no leads. And I'm like, WTF? Like, what's going on? Oh, no, we just have to tweak the leads. We have to do this. Well, I don't care I don't get paid on your excuses. Hell, I don't get paid on my excuses. Only way I get paid is if I sell, but I can't sell if you don't put people in front of me. Sometimes you're going to have offer owners that don't know what the hell they're doing. And that's okay. Nobody in the beginning knows what the hell they're doing. I'm not criticizing that. But if you're the offer owner and you don't know what the hell you're doing, and now all of a sudden you need closers because you're starting to spend money on ad spend. And so what you don't want is for leads to come in and not have somebody to take them. So you're like, crap, I need to get myself a closer. Oh, and I need to get the best possible closer because I've taken all of my money in the bank to pay for these leads, and I can't afford for these leads not to get closed. I'm just saying, these are things that go through people's heads, right? So then they'll meet a closer that's a really sharp closer, and they'll be like, look, man, we've been doing this for 3 years, and, consistently I'm going to give you, 8 leads a day, and, 6 of them are going to show up, and you're going to close, out of those 6 of them, you're going to close 3, and, you're going to be making $30,000 a month to start. And it's all smoke. It's all bullshit. And it was just the guy selling you because he needs you, because he feels that if he doesn't have a really hot closer and he's spending all his money on these ads, that ad spend money is going to go away. I get that. I understand both sides. But the problem is that you just took somebody who left a very stable job where they were earning whatever money they were earning. Again, this is young but successful, right? And now they came into this thinking it was one thing and it's not. And now all hell's going to break loose. So as a closer, you're going to learn how to do a very good discovery on your prospects. But I'm going to teach you guys, and actually I already have a video that does it. I'm going to teach you guys what questions you need to ask a recruiter, what questions you need to ask an offer owner so that they will tell you basically what you need to hear. And you'll know if there's red flags. So yeah, guys, like I was saying is, you're making that jump in. If you're successful, but you're making that money, you're spending it, and now you have that dip, that could be an issue. So if you got an offer owner now, and all of a sudden the offer owner is telling you, hey, I got this great job for you. We're going to give you 8 booked appointments a day. 6 of them are going to show up. You're going to close 3. You're going to make $30,000 a year. And it's bullshit. And the only reason why he's telling you this is because this offer owner took all the money he had in his bank account and like putting it all on the table in Vegas, he used it for his ads. And now he's thinking, I need somebody that's a top closer that can close these. I can't afford to get somebody who's not a top closer. I'm going to tell them whatever I got to tell them for them to come on board. Because if I lose this money, it's gone. And I get it. I get both sides of the story. I do. But that closer that you just convinced to come on board came on some false pretenses. You promised him 8 leads a day. You told him that he was going to get about 6. Now, whether he closes 3 or not, that's on him. But he's thinking that he has the ability to make the money that he was making or better than what he was making before. That person has responsibilities, and you just shitted on him. So it's really important, guys, and I've done videos on this, right? You can go back and see them, that you learn the right questions to ask in an interview so you can ferret out this bullshit and know if you're really dealing with a legit offer. Especially if you're already successful, because even though you're young and you can afford time-wise to take a hit or take an L, you can't afford success-wise because you've probably leveled up a couple times, probably because of your youth more than you should have. You've over-leveraged yourself, and you can't afford to have too long of a dip. Now let's go on to the next one. So what if you're a middle-aged person that's not that successful? Well, that one kind of sucks, right? That hurts because A, you know that you've got a limited amount of time to make it happen. I got good news for you, though. Most men between the ages of 40 to 60 is where they get their riches. That is where we shine, because we know that this is those 20 years are your last hurrah in terms of energy and power. Doesn't mean you're not going to have that afterwards. I'm just saying that is the most productive years of your life. So if you're in that situation where you're not successful and you're middle-aged, don't feel bad. You're in the time. If there was ever a time for you to make it happen, where the whole universe conspired in your favor, you're in it right now. Just don't fuck it up. So if that's the case, you have to have a little bit of discernment, but not as much, believe it or not, as the young kid with the success. The young kid with the success could take the hit. He could take the L because he's got all the time in the world. But because of his success and because he probably over-leveraged himself, he can't afford to because it's going to be a catastrophe. You know what I mean? If he can't afford his mortgage, he's probably got a freaking Lambo or an Aston Martin or something he shouldn't have gotten anyway. He should have put that in the S&P. But, you know, I'm saying that now in my 50s. But when I was that age, I sure as hell wasn't doing that. Right? And props to those of you that are. I'm very proud of you. So if you're middle-aged and you're not successful, okay, you're in a great time to make it happen. But because you're middle-aged, you can't afford to have too many fuck-ups. If you've got a job that has a 401k, that has your health insurance, that has all these things, you're thinking about your retirement and this and that. Every time you make one of those changes, you are freaking playing craps, right? You are throwing some dice, and snake eyes may come out, may not. So you have to be discerning. You have to be able to ask a couple questions and figure out whether it is worth it for you to make the change. And it's okay not to take it. Guys, this is just like trading. Everybody knows I'm into trading. I'm a damn good trader, right? No FOMO. If you missed a trade, I'll take the next bus. There's another bus in 15 minutes. It's the same thing. Right now, the whole high ticket scene is so hot that my inbox gets at least 20 requests a day for high ticket closers. Don't worry about it. It's more important that you make the right decision. And in your case specifically, not only is it about money, but it's about stability. Meaning, I wouldn't gamble with an offer that maybe is like a startup and may blow up and make a ton of money. And I'm just saying, if I was in that position, I would want an offer that has been around for quite some time. It's very stable. Everybody's seen the ads. Everybody knows what it is. Because that means that they already have a system. It works. Everything's already structured. There's sales managers, there's sales directors, there's training going on, there's videos, there's audios, there's a track of what you need to do next. That's what I would recommend. Now, if you're middle-aged and you're successful, that's the one where you have to be the most discerning of all. The most, because you are, of everybody I mentioned, you are the one that has the most to lose in all of those situations. If you've got a cushy job, you got a great job, you're making money, maybe you're just making the shift because of one of those things I mentioned. You just want the geographical freedom. You just wanted the time freedom. It's the natural progression in your career before you decide to retire, right? Oh, before I retired, I took 10 years. I was just high ticket closing. I was in Thailand and Vietnam and here and there. Man, that sounds romantic. That sounds awesome, doesn't it? But you also you're the person that has the most to lose because you're older. So you may have health issues. You may have health issues come up later. You're going to need health insurance. Even if you move over to high ticket closing, you should have some way of insuring yourself for your health, because as you get older, shit happens. You got a retirement? Good. Don't touch that shit. Actually continue to feed into it, because you are closer to retirement than anybody else that we just mentioned. Number 3, you are leaving a stable, and when I mean stable, guys, I'm not talking about the 40 hours a week. I mean, you had a job where you were already making 6 figures. It was a good job. There was nothing wrong with the job in the first place. The only thing you were doing was to up the game to the next level. Well, guess what? That means that that's a good job that you're taking a risk of losing. So you have to be that much more sure that what you're getting into is actually, that it is what they say it is. And the only way to do that, I'm probably gonna pin one of the little cards at the end of this podcast with those other 2 podcasts where I spoke about this, so that I don't have to keep repeating it. What are the questions that you should be asking? All right, there's some things that are very important. You want to know where the lead gen is coming from? Is it, virtual sales letters, video sales letters? Is it a webinar that they're doing? Is it direct from an ad and they're booking on a calendar? Are there setters? That's the best one, in my opinion, having a setter there. Seminars are also really, really good if you're getting them right after the seminar, because they're hot with what just happened. But I love the setters because the setters are doing some of the groundwork for you. They're going out there. They're talking to the person. They're qualifying their interest. They're qualifying their financial ability to pay for this. They're making sure that if there's a husband and a wife, that husband and wife or business partner is going to be on that call. They're making it so that the person thinks of you as a professional in that field. So absolutely, I am a big fan of setters. I love you guys. But if you are a middle-aged person who's successful, you are the person that has the most to lose in making a shift like that. And I'm not against making it. I'm all for it. I'm just saying, listen to me. Listen to the voice of reason and to the voice of experience, so that you don't jump from one ship to another and find out you're landing in a dinghy. That would serve you incredibly well. Incredibly. Another thing is try to get as much of a feel. The recruiter is different because the recruiter is only the person that's going to be between you and the offer owner. So, not really. But try and get a feel for the offer owner and notice how they treat you through the recruiting process, through the interviewing. Ask yourself, is this someone that I would like to work with and partner with? Because if it's not worth doing, guys. Now, let's talk about the good stuff. If you're able to ferret out all of these red flags, if you're able to get out of the darkness of the tunnel and now you're finally seeing light at the end of the tunnel, you've got your head and your foot way ahead of the game. Most people aren't even thinking of that. Most people are just trying to land a job. They don't even understand the levels that there are to this. Now, some of you are going to be thinking, yeah, Chris, but I don't want to ask those really deep questions. I don't want to piss them off. Screw it. If it pisses them off, they don't understand the game. Or they understand the game very well and they understand that you know a lot more than they thought you did. And now they know they can't mess with you, which is good. There will be respect there. And they know that if you had the balls to ask them those kind of questions, you're not going to have any problem asking a prospect the kind of questions you got to ask them. Anyway, guys, I really thought this was an important podcast for today. My name is Coach Ceelo, and I have helped thousands of high-ticket closers and sales professionals reach, attain, and maintain six figures. You keep watching me. You'll be the next. I'm out of here.